Jeremy Skillington is my name, the CEO of Poolbeg. And what I want to do today, we've got about 10 or so minutes to bring you through the company and our pipeline. Some very exciting programs to update you on, essentially. So, as I said, Poolbeg, we're listed on the London market. POLB is our ticker symbol. I think we've done a really nice job of accumulating a very high-powered executive team. We've got a number of high-value programs that I'll take you through, primarily focusing on POB001, which is our lead program. Again, diversified pipeline, so multiple shots on goal that I'll touch upon. And partnering is really what will drive the company as we're going forward. We're going to do these initial proof of concept clinical trials, and then ultimately we'll partner with pharma to take it further from there. So in the near term, we've got multiple value inflection points, which I will touch upon as we go through. So this is the Poolbeg pipeline, some really significant high-value programs. I will focus on POB001 today, and this is our lead program. It's a MAP kinase, P38 MAP kinase inhibitor. We are driving this forward in cancer immunotherapy-induced cytokine release syndrome. And don't worry, I'll kind of walk you through what that is, because it's a very important side effect to some of these really important and groundbreaking cancer immunotherapy treatments. So we're planning a phase 2 clinical trial that we'll start this year. I think it allows us to have data that'll come out next year, top-line data in 2026. So multiple value inflection points, multiple newsworthy items coming through. Secondly, you're all pretty familiar with GLP-1 agonists, weight loss in particular, an issue with diabetes, but these are drugs that are given by injection. We've got an oral variation of that, which I'll speak to, and again, in the clinic this year to get our proof of concept with top-line data next year. And then on the bottom, we did a tremendous amount of work in the AI space, looking at human viral challenge studies and coming up with new drug targets, but I won't have time to touch upon that today. So again, POB001. So we are in this cytokine release syndrome space. So cancer immunotherapies, as I mentioned, is a large and growing market. This is where your immune system is instructed to go after the tumor. So again, very powerful, lots of drugs in this space, particularly the CAR T-cell therapies and bispecific antibodies, which again really redirect your immune cells, your T-cells, to go after tumors. Very successful from an efficacy standpoint, tremendous data. Some patients have been cured by these diseases. And these are primarily in your blood cancers, your myelomas, your lymphomas. But what they have is an issue with this cytokine release syndrome as a side effect. So the market is growing, but what's growing with it is the challenges of cytokine storm or cytokine release syndrome. There is no approved therapies to prevent CRS. As I say, the pharma companies and physicians we speak to are looking for a solution, and we believe that we have one. So again, I do want to spend just a brief period of time explaining what CRS is, what is cytokine release syndrome. So if you get your bispecific or your T-cell engaging CAR T-cell, sometimes your immune system goes awry. It gets overactivated, and what you have then on the top line on the right, you develop a fever, you increase your heart rate, you low blood oxygen, hypoxia, and again, low blood pressure. And what can happen then is that manifests even further down to kidney injury, neurotoxicity, capillary leaks. And there have been evidence or incidents of patients actually ultimately are dying from this CRS as it progresses. So physicians and clinicians are very eager to find a solution to prevent this from happening in the first place. Let the T-cell engaging therapies do their work in helping with these cancer patients extending life or indeed curing the disease. But reducing the CRS, this is something they're pursuing. So at Poolbeg Pharma, we believe we have a solution here. As I say, a solution for treating CRS. We've done some independent market analysis, and given that exponential growth of the T-cell engaging cancer immunotherapies, we see it as a potential $10 billion market to prevent CRS from occurring in the first place. So again, that allows more patients to get more drug and more cancer patients to benefit from these cancer cells or cancer immunotherapies. Upwards of 70% of these cancer immunotherapy patients develop CRS, so you can see how significant an issue is. And that puts exceptional pressure on the healthcare system, on the physicians treating the patients, and of course, on the patients themselves. What is happening right now is when CRS develops, that there's kind of a knee-jerk reaction where you're given an antibody to help reduce that CRS. So it's kind of a reactive approach. And the drug itself targets a protein called interleukin-6. And as I show later on, we're targeting interleukin-6 as well as several other cytokines. So we're reducing the levels of multiple cytokines in our approach. So again, a very interesting, exciting time for the company. Our lead program, POLB001, as I mentioned, is potent and selective to P38 MAP kinase. It's given orally, unlike antibodies that are given through infusion. We have human clinical data, excellent safety and tolerability profile. And as I say, we can selectively reduce inflammation without, and this is important, without affecting the immune system as a whole. And there's always a risk about if you reduce the immune system, you might get an infection. This is not the case with this drug. So we've been building an aggressive patent portfolio over the last several years. And as I said, we see this then as a potential for orphan drug designation, which again gives us market exclusivity further down the line. So as I said, we've got a pretty impressive data set. It's been in humans already. It's phase 2 ready. So we're ready to go into patients, ready to go into multiple myeloma patients. And I'll talk about that shortly. But as I say, we've generated data sets in CRS models in vivo. And we've demonstrated in humans a reduction in interleukin-6, which I mentioned, as well as other cytokines like TNF. So again, we have broad potential for this pretty impressive molecule. I think, too, it's worth highlighting how quickly we've moved. We did start looking at severe influenza as an indication, but as the cancer immunotherapies were expanding and growing, we saw a significant opportunity to take our drug into that space. So from the idea in 2023, where we rapidly filed a number of patents applications in the space, building out, as I say, in this cancer immunotherapy CRS, we generated clinical data in a surrogate study using a molecule called LPS to trigger the immune response, saw terrific data there. And then building it out in 2024, we did a deep dive into the market, deep dive into understanding, talked to a lot of key opinion leaders, understanding which direction we should take this drug in. So right now, as I say, we're phase 2 ready to put this in the clinic, which is planned to begin later this year. And then that enables us to have top-line data next year, 2026, that then will enable partnering. So as I said, we're very excited about this, and our pharma partners that we're speaking to are very excited about it as well. I will spend briefly, I want to scare you with data, but I just want to explain that we did a tremendous amount of study to understand CRS, understand our drug and how it'll treat CRS. And what's important in this study here on the bottom left-hand side summarizes that the red dot here is essentially it's a CRS model in mice where their immune systems are triggered to develop CRS using an anti-CD28 antibody. And when you give our drug, so red is when you get no drug on board, and you see a significant level of CRS scores there. But the blues, the light blue, dark blue, and green is where you give POLB001, and you're seeing this dramatic drop in CRS levels of occurring. I think on the right-hand side then, when we dive into the data a little bit deeper, the red line again is without treatment, without POLB001. So you're seeing a significant increase in interleukin-6, which, as I mentioned, is what's used as a treatment in the industry right now. So what we're seeing with our drug is a dramatic reduction in interleukin-6, and similarly with the TNF alpha. So again, we're pretty impressed with this data, and we've added this to our patent filing. So it kind of gives us confidence in the direction we're going. So what we're looking at now is a phase 2A trial. So again, importantly, this is bringing it into patients. It'll be a cohort of multiple myeloma patients. So what we're doing is giving POLB001 as a preventative, as a prophylactic, before they get their bispecific antibody. And if you remember, the bispecific antibody is known, 70% of patients, to trigger CRS. So they get a bispecific antibody on day 1, day 4, and day 7 as they ramp it up. So our expectation, our plan is to run a study giving our drug in a continuous manner. And what we'll see then is reduction in CRS is our ultimate goal here. So grade 2 CRS, reduction in all grade CRS, obviously confirming safety and pharmacokinetic analysis, and obviously looking at biomarkers. So again, as I say, the plan is that this will go into patients in 2026 with top-line data coming out next year. Just one slide on the GLP-1. I say I don't think this is worth mentioning, but large and significant growing markets. The market of the drug themselves, upwards of $150 billion by 2031. the economic impact is quite significant. And again, the US population, as an example, 42% are obese. So this is a drug that people are using as daily injections for obesity. So what we're doing is we're microencapsulating this drug, so patients can take this orally. So take it through the mouth, survives the stomach, it's released in the small intestine, and then the drug gets into systemic circulation. So again, clinical data is key in our industry. So we're planning to run a clinical trial starting this year, and again, having top-line data next year. So again, looking forward to seeing this clinical data coming out. And I'll finish up here, again, reminding you we have a terrific team, a list of highly valuable, very exciting, very innovative programs, multiple shots on goal, of course, and partnering will follow from the generation of this clinical data, ultimately the business model of the company. I'd say some multiple near-term reflection points as we generate that data. Again, appreciate your time, and I think, do we have time for one or two questions?